Can we normalize going to God ourselves? If there's anything I would encourage anyone, everybody, to practice 2025 is going to God yourself. Have you ever been there and you have a situation or you have situations? Situations don't move. But you've been to a man, a woman, all brothers to pray for you and the situations don't move an inch. And have you ever wondered why? Today I read Matthew 8, where Jesus healed a leper. Well, the leper approached him and said, "Would you heal me?" And he said, "I will be healed." And it was done. So I said, God, if we were created in your image and we are like you and we represent you on this earth, that means you gave us the power to do exactly what you do. Because the Bible says in Genesis that we were created in God's image. And he's a source of wisdom, which means that, first of all, we cannot afford to speak things without wisdom. Secondly, whatever he does, we can do because his spirit is within us. But then why is it that when some men, women of God pray for situations to move, situations don't move? Why? Now, God was ministering to me that the states of hearts or people's hearts, people that you go to for prayers, have you ever taken time and, call them and say, "Hello, what's your spiritual status at the moment? Are you closer to God? Are you spending time with God enough? Are you talking to God? Or do you just call them because they're men and women of God and say, 'Can you pray for me? I need this to be done'?" I was guilty of this because I thought to myself, how many times have I actually just picked up a phone and called someone and say, "I'm going through this, please pray for me." And they did. They do it because they just feel like that's what they have to do. And in fact, indeed, it's what they have to do. But what's their state of heart, spiritual state, just before they pray for you? Now, that's the reason why some things don't move. The few scriptures I've read, either God was coming from a mountain, or he's just spent how many days praying and fasting, or he's always spiritually intact. So by the time it's time for him to heal somebody or to do something or perform a miracle, his spiritual state is right. So then God was ministering to me that how many times do people call someone and that person, it could be a pastor, it could be a brother, it could be anybody that you believe that can pray for you. How many times have you actually assessed their spiritual state before you requested for a prayer? They could be going through trauma. They could be going through stress. They could be going through something that is hindering their prayer. We are human beings. You could be walking down there and someone start arguing with you. You shouldn't be responding back, but guess what? Sometimes you go ahead and start arguing, and the phone call comes in and say, "Hey, could you please pray for me? I'm going through this." And you just say, "Yeah, Lord, I pray, please, could you kindly do this?" It won't work because your spiritual status is not where it should be. Now, this is what God has been ministering to me. Could it be that it's for me, or is it for everyone that needs to hear this? And what I've learned in this is us paying attention to the connection we have with God ourselves. Yeah, normalize going to God and say, "Father," it doesn't mean that every time you go to God, you are spiritually whatever. But by the time you kneel down and say, "God, please forgive me for this, please blah, blah, blah." By the time you go through all that and speak to God, there are chances that you'll be so pure that he will hear your genuine, prayer and say, "Yes, it is done." Literally, all I'm trying to say, guys, do not rely on other people to go to God on your behalf. Do not rely on others receiving the message from God to you. Why can't you go and get the message if you still can? Some people, yes, do have pure hearts and they can go to God and pray for you, but they might have a problem interpreting exactly what God is saying. They might have a language barrier whereby they want to tell you exactly what God's saying, but they can't. But if you go to God and connect your spirit to His Spirit, you will receive the message exactly how you want it. Imagine if you have a close friend. I'm sure we all have a close friend. But every time you want to get a message from them, you have to go through somebody. Imagine that. How many of us will actually do that? Everybody want to contact their personal person and say, hey, this is what's happening. What do you think? What do you have to say about this? And they give you their genuine feedback. But if you pass the message through someone else, they might twist it a little bit according to their understanding. So it's the same with God. Some people can't speak clearly. Some people don't know how to. Some people's hearts are not close to God by the time you approach them. So it's always safe to go to God. And it's an honor as well. It's like you want to go to God, but then send someone and say, God, tell him for me to do this. No. It's even more respectful for you to go to him and say, Father, here I come. Talk to me, tell me, guide me, instruct me. What do you want me to do? I come as me, Leah. Rather than someone else saying, hey God, this is Leah. I'm coming on behalf of someone else. Could you please tell me what you want them to know? No. I don't want to make this too long. It's already too long. 7 minutes is way too long. But please, I don't know who this is for. I take it personally, and I hope someone else benefits from it. Go to God yourself, and you tell me. Bless you.